In the fluorescent-lit corridors of a Chicago-area hotel, where weary travelers seek solace before dawn flights, a sequence of events unfolded that laid bare the fragility of fame and the perils lurking in plain sight. Tara Reid, the 50-year-old actress whose breakout role in American Pie etched her into the cultural zeitgeist as the quintessential girl next door, found herself at the center of a maelstrom one unassuming November evening. What began as a routine stopover at the DoubleTree Chicago O'Hare Airport Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, spiraled into disorientation, hospitalization, and a public reckoning with claims of drink spiking that surveillance footage would later complicate. Downing what footage reveals as multiple glasses of white wine, far beyond the solitary sip she initially recounted, Tara's night devolved into a blur of slurred words and stumbling steps, culminating in paramedics wheeling her away on a gurney, labeled simply as an intoxicated female. Tara's history with alcohol is no secret, a chapter she has confronted with the brutal honesty born of rock bottom. In 2008, she voluntarily entered a Malibu rehabilitation facility, emerging not unscathed but profoundly changed. "That stint saved my life," she later reflected, her voice carrying the gravel of survival. The years since have been a tightrope walk, flashes of red carpet radiance interspersed with tabloid tales of erratic nights and whispered relapses. This particular weekend, ahead of a celebrity meet and greet, seemed innocuous, a brief respite in a schedule packed with appearances. Checking into the DoubleTree, Tara ventured to the lobby bar around 10:37 p.m., clad in a black Adidas sweatsuit accented by pink stripes, Ugg boots for comfort, a black ski cap pulled low, and a brace cradling her left hand, a remnant of some prior mishap. Surveillance captured her initial order, a single glass of white wine, which she sipped with evident relish, large gulps that emptied it swiftly. Stepping away briefly, perhaps for a smoke as she later claimed, she returned to find it modestly covered by a napkin, a bartender's courteous gesture rather than foul play. Finishing that first pour, she ordered a second, her fingers drumming in anxious rhythm on the bar top. Conversation flowed as freely as the liquid, her demeanor animated yet edged with restlessness. The second glass vanished by 10:57 p.m., chased by a third raised in toast to a man who had sidled up behind her, his presence a catalyst for camaraderie. They relocated to a cozier nook, shoulders brushing, words tumbling in the dim light. Tara's recounting in her police report, filed 2 days later, painted a starkly different picture. One unattended glass, a napkin shroud, and then oblivion. "The last thing I remember was drinking that drink and seeing a couple sitting next to us," she wrote, describing an 8-hour blackout that landed her in the hospital, memory erased like chalk from a board. In a subsequent TMZ interview, she issued a clarion call for vigilance. "You have to really be careful with your drink? For that to make me pass out for 8 hours, that's crazy." Her plea resonated, a cautionary echo in an era rife with spiking horrors. Yet the tapes told a fuller tale, one of volitional consumption, 5 glasses in total, poured from what equates to a standard bottle, her interactions lively, tactile. Touching his arm, inputting her number into his phone, sharing photos that clattered to the floor only for him to retrieve. As midnight tolled and the bar shuttered, Tara struggled into her coat, his assistance a chivalrous interlude. The lobby camera caught her wobble, his hand steady on her back as they exited through revolving doors, where she crumpled momentarily in the spin. Outside, they smoked for 15 minutes, the glow of cigarettes punctuating the chill, before re-entering amid a small entourage including a security guard. Equilibrium faltered, she sank to the floor, another patron fetching water from the desk. High fives turned to hugs, their connection a fleeting harbor in the haze. When a wheelchair was procured, Tara slumped from it at 12:33 a.m., her body betraying the night's toll. Hotel staff intervened, transferring her to another chair and summoning aid via 911. "We have a guest here who is really inebriated and she needs help from the hospital," the employee urged, voice laced with urgency. "She can barely stand. She goes unresponsive and then wakes up." Noting Tara's celebrity, they erred on caution, wheeling her to her 4th-floor room only to call again as she mumbled incoherently, rising and falling in peril. Paramedics arrived near 1 a.m., strapping her to a gurney for the ambulance ride, her episode filed under intoxication rather than assault. The aftermath brought red flags. Tara's hospital discharge included vague allusions to drugging, yet she admitted no specifics probed. It was all kind of vague, very blurry. Her TMZ appearance, still disheveled, amplified the narrative, but scrutiny mounted as footage surfaced, corroborating police skepticism of criminality. No tampering evident, no strangers meddling, just a progression from buzz to blackout, a stark reminder of alcohol's insidious creep. Tara's saga extends beyond this night, a mosaic of triumphs and tempests. American Pie Stifler's mom cemented her as a sex symbol, but roles in films like The Big Lebowski showcased comedic depth. Personal battles, addiction, body image scrutiny, post-plastic surgery rumors, have forged empathy, her advocacy for recovery a beacon. This incident, while casting doubt on spiking claims, underscores broader vulnerabilities. The loneliness of travel for stars, the ease of access in anonymous spaces, the stigma shadowing relapse. As she mends, perhaps in seclusion, Tara's story prompts reflection, not judgment, but a collective vow to safeguard the unseen struggles behind the smiles.